Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Fusion Station. I hope you all are doing great. In this tutorial, we will learn about the concept of port forwarding, where we will understand what is port forwarding and why do we need to use it, and what is the purpose of using in our production environment. In this diagram, you can see that we have some branch users and remote users who want to access this RDP server, which is hosted in our data center. So how will they do access this RDP server using the WAN interface IP, that is 29.187? Basically, with the help of port forwarding and some firewall rules and the DNAT, we can configure this port forwarding so that branch users and remote users can access this RDP server using the public IP address only. In this case, when this remote user or branch users try to access this RDP server, which is deployed in the data center using the public IP address on port number 3389, then he would be able to take the control of RDP server using his own machine, and this would be possible using the help of port forwarding. So let me navigate you to our lab environment where this RDP server is deployed in Windows 7 machine, and this remote user is our current machine from where we will try to access this RDP server. Let's say this remote user tried to access this RDP server from the outside network using this public IP address 192.168.29.187, and let's see what does it shows. So we have opened this application remote desktop connection where we will try to access the server using the WAN interface IP address of the firewall. After defining the public IP address, just connect. As we can see that it is initiating the remote connections but not completing it, and we got this error message: remote desktop cannot connect to the remote computer. Let's configure our firewall where we will configure firewall rules and DNAT rules to allow these branch and remote users so that they can access our RDP server from the outside network. Now we are in the rules and policy sections where we will configure a DNAT rule. And to configure the port forwarding or DNAT, just click on add firewall rule, and here you will get the option server access assistant or DNAT. Just click on it. Here it will ask you about the internal server IP address. So your internal server IP address would be your local server machine that you want to access it from the outside network. So in this case, I have already defined its IP address 172.16.0.2. Just select this IP, click next, and then it will ask about the public IP address. So where your request is going to land on this firewall interface. So that interface we need to define here. And in our lab environment, we have a port B, which is acting as a WAN interface. So just select this port B interface and click next. Then after, you just need to define the services, which service you want to access from outside network. So we want to access RDP service only to take the remote session of that machine. So I have already defined this RDP service. Just select this one, again click next. So the next section is external source networks and devices. Basically in this section we just need to define those IP addresses, or you can say those public IP addresses to whom you want to give the access to this RDP server. So here we are considering any for the timing, but if your requirement is to want to give the access to some particular public IPs, you can define those IPs over here. Once all these main parameters are configured, like the WAN interface IP, public IP addresses to whom you want to give the access, your local service that should be accessible from the outside network, then at the end you will get this page where it will just show you the review of your configuration. So just check that whether all the parameters have correctly configured or not, and after reviewing them, just click save and finish. Alright, so after completing that configuration, here we can see that our DNAT rule has been successfully created. Similarly, you can check under the net rule section. There is one more important point that we need to consider here. Whenever you will create a DNAT rule, these two additional rules will be created automatically. The first one would be the loopback, and the second one would be the reflexive. Here the main rule is the DNAT, but these two would be the additional rules here. So the purpose of loopback rule is just to access our local server using the public IP address from the local network, and this reflexive rule is just for the internet traffic. So whatever the traffic that will come from the outside network using this DNAT rule, their response would be sent out using the reflexive rule. So now just have a look at the firewall rules that we have created. So in this rule, we just simply created as a DNAT. Source zone would be considered as WAN and the destination is DMZ because our RDP server machine is hosted in the DMZ zone. So destination would be DMZ. Here source network is defined as any. Any means the traffic can come from the outside network and its IP address could be any. So the next section is destination network where we have defined the port P. So whatever the request will come from the public IP address that should reach out to this interface. Whenever the request will land, it should reach to this public IP address that belongs to port B. And let's say if we are having multiple WAN interfaces and the request is reaching out on different WAN interface IP, in that case, a remote user or outside network user will not be able to access the local resource machine. Make sure whatever the port you are defining under the destination, using the same port IP address, you can access the local host or the host which is defined behind the firewall should be accessible from this public IP address. And next thing is when the request will come from the outside network, the firewall will check that whether it is coming on this particular IP 29.197. Yes, it is coming on the same IP. Is it coming on the same service that is defined in this rule? Yes, it is defined on 3389. Based on these parameters, firewall will check each parameter of this DNAT rule and then after forward the request to the NAT section. So let's move to the NAT rules. And in this NAT rules section, we can see that the original source is any and we do not want to translate. So that is why we have defined as original. And the port destination port is port B where the request is landing. Then after we want to perform some DNAT task, like if someone is trying to access our local resource which is behind the firewall, and if they are using the public IP address, so that public IP address we are mapping with our local RDP server. And in this case, it will also check whether the port is coming on the same one which is defined in the DNAT rule or not. And if it is coming on the same port as we have defined as per the DNAT rule configuration, then it will allow the traffic. Now let's check our next section where we will check whether are we able to access our Windows 7 machine where we have defined the RDP server or RDP services is accessible from the outside network or not. So this is my remote machine which is located somewhere in the cloud, and I'm just trying to access my RDP server machine from the outside network. So just open the remote desktop application, and here we need to define the public IP address of the WAN interface. So in our scenario, the public IP address of the firewall's WAN interface is 29.187. Just connect. Now we have received the prompt to log in using the username and password. So our RDP server machine IP is test and type the password. See, now we are in our RDP server machine where we have deployed a Windows 7 machine. So in this way, you can access any one of your local machine based on your requirement from the outside network. And these points we need to consider while configuring the port forwarding, so that we must know the exact public IP address of the WAN interface, the service that you want to allow from the outside network, and the private IP address of your local machine which is hosted behind the firewall. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have any query in this regard, just drop a comment. I will definitely answer all of your queries. And addition to this one, I have already made other content regarding the Sophos Firewall configuration, where we have discussed about multiple modules like SSL remote access VPN and services. So if you have not checked those videos yet, just check the video description. I will mention the links of those videos so that you will get some more informative content that may help you to implement in your production network or for your basic understanding of these concepts in terms of Sophos firewall configuration. So let me know if you have any query. Otherwise, we may wrap up the session here. And if you really found this video helpful, just hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and have a great day. Take care. Goodbye.